Okay, with Flow Builder about to come out, let's go over the logistics on how this works. So if I take a random AI, I'll just use a new one real quick, and I come here, I'll see add Flow Builder here, and I can add Flow Builder, I can do things how they're done currently. You don't have to change this, you don't have to do this is totally optional. Once we do this, it's going to add flow to our assistant. You see that we'll get a button down here to edit our Flow Builder, right? And this is just kind of the beta, so it's not pretty, it's not perfect, it just does the job, right? So how this will be treated a little bit differently. So you have your prompt here with the task-based framework, and it follows the prompt, right? It can go up and down in a meaningful way. Now, that, at least in voice deployments and maybe even chat, the more prompt you have, the more opportunity for hallucination and the more latency that you get in responses. It's a lot of prompt process just to get one reply out. So the point of Flow Builder is to have as minimal prompt as possible to keep it not only one, deterministic and not hallucinating, right? And two, keep it on task with what it's doing right there. Even if we have this task-based framework that works very well, there's still this idea of maybe skipping some of these questions, right? So maybe skipping some of these steps. With a Flow Builder, that doesn't happen. It's only fed on a per run basis. That's the only prompt that they have. It's the only thing that they can do. And so this will work in both chat and voice. And I'll show you how this will end up working. So as an assistant, so we'll say demo Flow Builder assistant. I'll make the front end a little prettier so this is easier to understand. So now we're not just prompt and tools, right? And all of our other, what would be agent settings, right? This is going to be our base prompt. And then we'll have our Flow Builder for our tasks. When it comes to tools, you'll add them on here, but they will not come onto the assistant. The other thing that's part of this is tools will be added on a per step basis. This also does a couple of things where we can be very deterministic around the instructions around some of the tools. Again, kind of helping the idea of hallucination or skipping steps, making it not really a thing, right? And the other thing is latency. If you have a call that's going on with 26, 27 tools, that's a very heavy call to process on a per run basis. This allows you to add 1 to 2 tools per state so that on a per run basis, there's very low latency and it's very deterministic. So even if you add them here, it doesn't matter. You'll see what I mean. What we'll do here is we'll give it an overarching identity, right? So in this prompt here, the way this will work is this prompt is shared between all nodes of the flow. So all the little breakoffs of the flow. This is shared. And so what you can do in this one is to give it the overarching personality, some important things. Context is fed in here as well for knowledge base and things like that. But you're just giving it this baseline to run off of, and then we're just taking the nodes and replacing the bottom half of the prompt. Think about that as we go through the flow. So this being our base prompt is sitting as a base prompt, and as we go through our flow, we're replacing this bottom half. So the identity, the response guideline is all the same, but our task is changing dynamically. So we'll go here and we'll just say you are Haley. Also built a test thing in here. It's not going to pull this prompt right here, but you at least get to kind of test this thing happening. Now, I'm going to go ahead and report here. Let's go edit the Flow Builder for this one. I have dark mode on, you can turn on light mode, it doesn't matter. Here you go, right? Here's where we'll start, and then we move on from here. Now, it can be as easy if you're doing something like a booking bot where we have just a couple steps. Again, think determinism. Think very small, very on target with this task. Or we can say something like, ask the user if they want to book an appointment. That's what we're going to start with. Now we have kind of two things that's going to happen, right? They're either not going to want to book an appointment, wants an appointment. Just put prompt right here. Doesn't want an appointment, right? And we can just connect these and we can say, look, go here, wants an appointment, if the user wants to book an appointment, right? And likewise, we'll connect this, kind of telling the AI, hey, look, doesn't want an appointment. Go here if the user does not want to book an appointment. So we've come to given it a path to go down, right? So we have these individual things, which stand as states or pathways we can go down to, and the condition of those pathways, right? So we ask if they want an appointment. We told the AI here, okay, go here if they want an appointment, and then go here if they don't want one. And then what we can do is we can take our prompt and we can say, okay, ask the user when they are available, right? Super simple. And say, thank the user for their time. Easy enough, right? And so we can test that here and you can kind of see it happening live. So we can kind of see this in action. So this is just a standard prompt. It's not actually going to come through, right? I can say, hello, and the AI will come back and it'll say, okay, would you like to book an appointment, right? We're still in start mode here. And I'll say, no. And the AI is going to make the decision. It says, I don't want an appointment. It says, thank you for your time, right? If we set this over again, we do the same thing. It's going to say, do you want to book an appointment today? I'll say yes and say, okay, when are you available? Now, this doesn't seem that big right now, but I'll kind of show you how meaningful this gets here in a second. And in a simple way, we can just be very deterministic about our pathway, right? Some people are very specific around appointment booking. Some people care about time zones, some people care about all this. I mean, you can get really specific with this. I mean, you can have a node just to get the availability. You can have a node just to discuss the availability. You can have a node just to book just to book the appointment, So it's just as simple as that, and I'll kind of show you where it can get. So I'm just going to save these changes. This is just a test one. And I'll show you my one that I'm building for in production. So I'll go to my flow builder one here. Again, this is my main prompt, the identity, personality traits, response guideline, has some developer instructions, things like that. But let's go into the flow builder. So this one's a little bit more complex, right? Very, very specific in the way that we're doing things and the way that we want some of this stuff handled. Whereas before, maybe with a scenario of qualifying questions, if someone didn't actually qualify, there was a potential for still booking an appointment or something like that, with the AI maybe getting persuaded into whatever, where we can kind of set deterministic parameters here, where I have mine, where if somebody's, not an enterprise deployment of voice AI, then we can just send them to go sign up. If they are an enterprise, then we need to go, get an appointment, learn more about their stuff, and get an SLA in place, right? And so you can see this kind of branches out, and you can see even the branches are self-referencing, where I have, okay, ask if they heard about us, ask if they're using Go High Level, and if they're not, ask if they plan on using it, and if they're not, tell them we only integrate with High Level, thanks so much for their time, and then answer any questions they may have if so. But if they're using Go High Level, or they plan to use Go High Level, because we have this one coming here, we ask them if they're using AI, and we do the same thing. We kind of build out prompts, and we build out scenarios where we can add very specific prompting for that specific scenario, right? Where I have this one, if they're using AI, we're going to ask them if they expect to spend 10 grand a month plus on voice minutes. And if so, then we go ahead and book the appointment. And if not, it's a non-enterprise customer. We'll answer their questions and then get them signed up and push an onboarding call, right? So we can get very, very specific with this flow. And you can see even on these, we're able to add these tools. That's what I was talking about. So you don't add the tools to the agent or the assistant itself. You're adding the tool to the state. So at any point during here, when I don't want someone to book an appointment, they're not qualified, they cannot book an appointment. So what this does is it allows it to be a lot more deterministic, a lot more refined, and a lot less. Okay, I'll show you kind of an example of this. Again, I'm just trying to keep it really deterministic. So you can see the states change. This is a good visualization of it. And this is how both voice and chat work. And let me come on here and say it's not maybe just steps. This can be departments. Go here for sales, go here for support. It's really determinism in silos, right? And so it can be as granular as even just questions themselves. It can be as broad as departments, or it can be a multi-agent framework. You have an appointment booking for a calendar ID here, down here, whatever it may be, right? So let's run through it and you can kind of watch this happening. So ask user how they heard about us. That's the initial prompt that goes in here. So let's start the conversation by saying hello and say how you heard about us. I was going through a group and someone recommended me to check it out. You'll see the state change is using Go High Level, right? And so are you currently using Go High Level? Yeah. It'll make the decision. Boom, using GHO. Good to know you're familiar with AI. Has your experience been? It's been good. AI is all right. And you can see how these different paths will take us to different qualifying questions, to different logic. And the great thing about these is with each node or each state pathway, whatever you want to call them in the conversation, these tools can be individual. So if I'm very hard pressed on qualifying, I can have all of my qualification tools being called there. If I'm appointment booking and I only want the most qualified, my appointment booking can be only in the one node where someone has to be the most qualified to get there, right? So it helps out a ton in those scenarios. Just looking to get more functionality, but it opens up a lot of opportunity for things like that. Now, is it going to be better than using a prompt? Is it going to be worse? It's really up to you. I mean, you don't have to use this. Is there benefits to using this? Of course there is. Is there benefits to using the prompt alone? Of course there is. It really comes down to your use case. So now we say, hey, if you're doing, do you expect to use above or below 10 grand a month in voice credits? Because if so, we'll book you an appointment. If not, enterprise, but I'll show you this. So I'll say, no, not that much. And so because I'm under, right, it's going to take me down here and say, okay, well, you can just go ahead and get signed up to the school. It's a simple process. And there you go. And say, well, what if I want an appointment? Right? I can't book an appointment. I'm not qualified to book an appointment. I'm not an enterprise, high ticket customer that would take a sales rep being on, right? And so you can see how this would help, especially for a very high ticket business, maybe solar, something like that, where we really need qualified leads on the phone with our sales reps. Or in a support scenario where someone really needs help, we're getting those really important tickets and maybe not the ones that are just like, hey, button needs to be green, not blue. You can kind of separate those out and you can use tools to create these tickets on behalf of that. But this is Flow Builder in a nutshell, right? And then we go back to our assistant and there we go. Now in a production run of this would be appended to the front half. So we have a name, we would be able to run with those different flows in there. But that is basically how Flow Builder works. Very, very exciting.